Hello, everybody. This is Alanna Levinson with I Love My Life Coaching. I am a peak profits builder. I work with small business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, practitioners to help you build your business and experience fulfillment and happiness in the meantime. And I want to introduce my guest, my friend. We have a kind of a funny story about how we reconnected. More or less, I get to meet some pretty cool people not only throughout my lifetime, but also in the realm of work. And I have with me Angelina Kardash. Hi, Angelina.
Hi, Alanna, and hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here with you today.
Yes. And Angelina and we met, believe it or not, we figured it out. I went to Burning Man once back in 2008, and we crossed paths and connected, and we've been on Facebook connected ever since. And now our worlds are getting reconnected again. What is that, 14 years later? So because we seem to be passionate about similar things, and we've sort of had similar work journeys. So anyway, Angelina is an anti-aging wellness coach, entrepreneur, keynote speaker, and advisor to leaders and companies. And she's the founder of the Anti-Aging Wellness Academy. She's on a mission to help high achievers and entrepreneurs power their peak and defy aging by unlocking the science of cellular rejuvenation. And her journey is a testament to resilience. She successfully reversed fibromyalgia and an autoimmune liver disease that doctors once deemed incurable. That's amazing. And through her holistic approach, she reclaimed her vitality, shed 50 pounds, and now looks and feels a decade younger, all without resorting to restrictive diets, extreme workouts, or costly treatments. And she, in her 50s, like myself, thrives on empowering others to optimize their cellular health, enable them to unlock a vibrant, youthful version of themselves. And her work is redefining what it means to age, proving that vitality, confidence, and resilience are within reach for everyone. I love that. So happy to have you here.
Oh, what an introduction. Thanks for having me here. I'm excited to have this
Well, so that's a lot.
conversation with you. And yes, I mean, like, just, to my excitement, just to, again, to reconnect with someone like you, right? So after 15 years, and yeah, I mean, we met on Burning Man, but now we're doing all this exciting stuff, right? And we're speaking, basically the health and wellness and all that, exciting stuff and leadership. So I'm super happy to reconnect with you, Alanna.
Yeah. Well, and it was fun catching up with you before we, decided on the date and when we were going to do this to really hear, we both grew up quite a bit, right? Over the years and both personally and professionally. So tell us about your journey and what led you here today.
Yeah, great question. So my journey has been quite unexpected, to say at least. So I actually spent over 20 plus years in Silicon Valley. In high stress executive roles, just like you, leading global IT departments and working late nights. And while I was pursuing this role in Silicon Valley and climbing the corporate ladder, eventually, like my health started to degrade, and I began to experience serious health issues around age 35, I would say. So, I mean, as you read my bio, so
Yeah.
that time I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and I spent actually half a decade undergoing traditional healthcare treatments, including like various prescriptions and medications. And unfortunately, these treatments didn't improve my health. And opposite, it's more degraded, right? So I mean, my health continued to decline. And later in life, I was 42 years old after giving birth to my precious youngest child. So it's pretty late in the game. And that time I was diagnosed with incurable autoimmune liver disease, and my doctor told me that I might eventually need a liver transplant.
Oh
And
God.
that moment I realized, Alana, that I have two choices. just, basically to follow so-called, I call it like sick care system, right? Which actually put me on that route because I've been through all the traditional treatments. And again, I mean, it didn't help me or take, control of my health and myself. And that's what I did actually. Like just fast forward, it took me 10 years of researching, training, testing, working with those amazing people, coaching with industry pioneers, with scientists, with doctors, following biohackers. So I can really uncover those strategies and tools that made me recover from my diagnosis. And now I can say I live in a peak state. And I'm so grateful for this journey. And as I went on this journey for so many years, I kind of realized that, others can benefit, from the lessons that I learned. At one point, I hosted this summit with all those celebrity 25 doctors that was impactful in my health. The summit was about how to reverse incurable diseases. And it was amazing. People started to reach out. How, Angelina, how did you do that? We read your story. We want to know more. This was kind of, beginning of me coaching people on that. And as more as I shared my story, emphasizing how the lifestyle choices significantly can impact your epigenetics, right? Because we all know that genes, I mean, we not all, but this is what I learned in my journey, that genes are only 10%. And the remaining of 90% is basically shaped by the choices, the environment, the habits, the factors that can transform, right? So our health and well-being, and we can literally impact it. It can change the expression of our genes, which is so powerful. So I realized that empowering other people to reclaim their health and vitality. So it's my true calling, and that made me actually to leave corporate job about like 4.5 years ago and step into this path of coaching people. I have this system for kind of anti-aging, cellular rejuvenation, that helps people to create a powerful vision for their lives so they can start taking charge of their health, becoming the CEO of their health, and actually believing that this is possible. So that's kind of, my story of getting from where I was to where I am now.
It's big. There's probably a lot there that, we could dive a lot deeper on. And as much as I bet that journey was really tough to go through, it sounds like the silver lining is that you followed your inspiration and it led you in this other direction. I mean, at first and foremost, you honored yourself and listened to that voice that said, I'm not giving up. And I say that because even just the other day, I learned of someone whose wife has Lyme disease, and he shared how they're pretty much at a place where they're just going to accept that she'll never be able to reverse it, and it's just that's the end of it. And I thought, wow, like I have no idea what their health journey has been to address it, but I truly, and it's we can't guarantee things for everybody, right? And everybody's body is different, everybody's journey is different, and then there's what's meant for us on a spiritual level. But to just that giving up and giving in, it's like your instinct said, no, I'm not doing that, and I'm gonna figure this out, and you did. And that's pretty darn amazing. And years ago, I think I shared with you the book that I read by Bruce Lipton, The Biology of Belief. I read it when he first published it back in 2005, and that rocked my world back then and made me realize, well, wait a second. Our genes and our DNA don't dictate our future of our health. It's other things. It's all the things that you said, plus the belief systems that we have, right? And part of that is I'm not giving up on myself. I'm not giving in. I've got more life to live, and I'm going to figure this out. So anyway, it sounds like you're just up to amazing things. So you mentioned developing a system that's focused on anti-aging, cellular rejuvenation, and that helps with transforming health, vitality. Can you share some more about that and how that system works?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes. And before we dive into that, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What do you think is this the tiniest and the most powerful unit of our body that actually determines your energy, your health, and even how old you are? What do you think it is?
That's a great, I appreciate that. I don't know. I mean, is it the cell? Is it an
Yes,
atom?
you
Is it the
got it.
frequency? Okay. Okay.
Yes, you got it. Absolutely. Yes, this is the cell. So because cells are like building blocks of our life, right? So the foundation of everything that our body needs. And when our cells are unhealthy, basically like healthy, our body thrives. When they're unhealthy, so we're like start to degrade. And when the cells start to break down, it's actually showing up as aging, was like inside and outside. So I really want to kind of, touch on what aging is, because in the simple terms, when you cell, start to weaken and lose their structure, and the DNA inside of them start to come apart and break down, and that leads to all those visible signs, right? So we have declining energy, we like lack mobility, we have white hair, right? Gray hair, we
Yeah.
have sagging skin, we have wrinkles, and I know that we all want to defy that, right? So we want to, to delay aging. So the question is, what is actually causing this breakdown, right? So, and I really want to kind of, focus on that a little bit, because this is very important, because there are three main reasons why our cells break down and age. And basically, it comes down to inflammation, lack of detoxification, and poor oxidation. And I just want to really explain that in a simple term. So first, when we talk about inflammation, inflammation, as everyone knows, is basically our body's way of protecting ourselves, right? So this is how immune system responds to injury or infection. For instance, you injured your ankle, right? So you have inflammation on your ankle, and that actually prevents you from doing bad thing to your ankle. So you're probably gonna, like wrap it down, or, put it like a cool, cold, or, like heat, depending on, what's really, how you hurt yourself. So, and your inflammation will go down. But the problem appears when it, actually grows into the chronic inflammation, right? So, like it's like fire in a forest. Once you get that, and you cannot put this down in like a couple of days or a week, and then it becomes like a chronic, and this fire is just basically growing, right? So very fast, affecting like more areas in your body. So, and this inflammation, this cellular inflammation, leads to more wrinkles, to joint pain, to serious diseases, like a heart disease, diabetes. So it all goes down, to inflammation of the cells. So like, how does this happen? In order, these things that trigger those inflammation. And I mean, just in the simple terms, I mean, it's what you eat. It's, your poor diet, especially, too much sugar, processed foods, bad fats, right? So, and stress also leads to inflammation in your body. And again, stress can be a good way of thinking about it, or a bad way of thinking that. Even exercise can, like create inflammation, because one types of exercise can work for one person and one not, because we're all different. We're all, like I have a different biology, and we'll talk more about that today. But another thing is like sleep. And I think that
Mm.
sleep is, the mostly underestimated in our culture, right? So, but do you know that actual lack of sleep actually ages us, like a decades, like literally. So again, I mean, those are the things that create inflammation in our body, the cellular inflammation. And the next thing is the detoxification, because our body has its own detox system, right? So we have liver, we have kidney, we have lymphatic system, and they're all working hard to actually filter all the toxins out of their body. And I always like to talk about the bucket. So like imagine, there is a body, and we have a bucket inside of our body, and it fills out with toxins every day, drop by drop, from the food we eat, from the environment, from the, from the air we breathe, right? Even from the clothes we put, I mean, all the synthetic clothes that, right? So it also, I mean, it actually affects our body, the products, everything. And when our body get overloaded, because of all those things, pollution, processed food, I mean, all those things that we just talked about. So it starts to leak this toxins right out of this bucket. And this is, how you get basically, more inflammation, right? So it's, toxicity. So, I mean, again, I mean, it's like trying to run a car with dirty oil, right? So the engine of the car is going to struggle. This is why we do this, like a service, right? So servicing our car, the same, things happen to ourselves. And if we cannot function properly, so our energy drops. So, and it affects your cellular health. Your cells becomes damaged, right? So your mitochondria doesn't produce enough ATP. So all those things are, interconnected. So we really need to support our detoxification with, clean eating, drinking plenty of water, reducing exposure to toxins, all those things. And there's, a million of other things, but those are, kind of the basics. And and the third thing that I kind of, want to bring into this discussion is oxidation. Because
Mm.
every time our cells create energy, they use oxygen, right? So, and it's normal. So, and it's kind of part of how our body works. And when this process gets out of balance, it creates, like something that calls free radicals, right? So in this process, called oxidative stress, and this is, like a major cause of aging. And I always like to talk about the story of glycation. So for instance, like when we consume sugar, because this is one of the reasons when we get cellular inflammation, we consume sugar, right? And when the sugar molecules, actually emit some other molecules in our body, it glycates the other molecules, and actually it creates the oxidative stress. And the glycation process is same as aging. And you know how you put chicken in the oven and it comes from being pink to being brown. That's the glycation. The same thing happens in our body, right? So when we can consume sugar, I mean, so it's aging. So oxidation and aging. So what does this all mean? Because I mean, I just, use so many terms: inflammation of our cells, like a toxins, the bucket, oxidative stress. It's all interrelated. Okay. It's, like that creates this cycle of damage that speeds us up. But exciting part that, but addressing the root cause, we actually can break the cycle. And again, I mean, you asked me the question, I mean, what system do I have? And this is, where my Vital Ageless You system is all about, is actually, cellular rejuvenation. It's designed to help you reduce inflammation, detox your body, protect your cells so you can look and feel younger. You can have more energy. I mean, you can thrive, with age. So yeah, I mean, it just basically, redefining your aging process. You can recover just like me, from the diseases, right? So, and, I, while, I've already recovered. So now, I mean, my next thing is, okay, how I can delay the aging process. Because I mean, I want to stay, like a young and healthy, right? And it means not really true longevity, because I mean, like whatever is, God allowed me how many years to live. Yes, thanks God. But how I can live my life, whether I'm going to be vital or, I'm going to be really, kind of, depressed with my level of health. So that's kind of, what my system is about.
Wow. There's so many things you said that I completely personally resonate to, and, or I should say resonate with, and practice myself. And, when you were talking about inflammation years ago, like for 8 years, I was going to all kinds of doctors because I had chronic knee pain. And it was just, it actually was probably in other parts of my body, but for some reason, my knee was screaming the loudest. And so that was like the main focus of, help me figure this out. I went to all kinds of doctors, you know, I had x-rays done, I had an MRI done, I had a physical therapist. None of them can help me figure out, to your point, when you said about the root cause,
Yeah.
until I finally went to a chiropractic kinesiologist who deals with
Yeah.
kinesiology and messages from the brain and how they get
Yes.
blocked.
Yeah.
And he helped me figure it out. It was gluten, and it transformed my life to reduce the inflammation in my body in such an incredible way that my immune system got stronger.
Yeah.
um, my asthma got less. It didn't take it away. That I've got a story about that too. But it really changed my life about being cognizant of inflammation. That was like the first time that I really got introduced to that concept.
Mhm.
Uh, and then, for detoxing, oh my God, we are getting hit constantly these days from bad water, chemicals spraying in the air, and some people might say conspiracy theory. Look it up, do the research. It's there. Look up in the sky. You can see it right then and there.
We'll finally start talking about that at the government level. Finally, right?
Finally, yes. Yeah. Well, and there's, a few states now are starting
Yeah.
to come up with some laws to
Yeah.
ban it skies. But, um, the food, the water, we're just getting hit with so much that, doing a cleanse or a parasite cleanse, I'm really learning about parasites and how they truly contribute to so many of our health issues.
Yeah.
That this isn't just a every 6 months or once a year thing anymore. Like I practically detox every single day as much as I can. And I'm doing some things that are alternative that relating to what you said about oxidation. I'm doing I'm doing something that's a little controversial, but I drink chlorine dioxide and I spray it on my skin. I drink it almost every day. And that after having done that for a couple of years, my asthma is all but gone. And another health issue I've struggled with is Epstein-Barr. If anybody out there, that it's hitting men too, but it hits a lot of women. And I've had a couple of really bad episodes of it where it's lasted months, months and months and months and months, and there's no solution. And now when I start to notice signs of it, I ramp up my dosage of chlorine dioxide, and within 2 to 3 days, it knocks it out of my system. So, I'm interested to hear more about, what you're doing and how you're doing it, because all of these things are important. And it's really important to understand how that affects not only our health, but yes, as we age, we all want to live a long, healthy life.
Yeah.
And grateful that, I'm 54 and don't feel 54 and sometimes get told you don't look 54, which is nice.
Yeah.
So what do you think holds most people back from achieving results?
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say, there, like a couple of things. First of all, it's, internal barrier is the belief, and you brought up today in this conversation a belief, right? So it's too late, or maybe it's gone too far, right? So, and people just trapped by their diagnosis. And this is what I see with so many people, because I mean, through my health journey, I've met so many people in the different retreats and clinics, right? So, like all over the country, where they were so, like limited by what their conventional medicine doctors told them. And actually this is clinically proven. So if the doctors will give you hope that, yes, I mean, there is a hope for you that you can overcome this. So your mind is so powerful. We know that. So you can completely heal and we know the stories, and those stories just by basically, transforming your mind. But I'm just saying that and this is why I love, and I'm passionate about educating people about genetics, about epigenetics, that, it's possible to, reverse, to recover, right? So we're not saying that we've ever gonna fully, recover, because if we go back to, the way that we lived before, you're gonna get again, I mean, the cellular inflammation if you don't watch for those things that, we're taught today, right? So not having this conversation. So yes, I mean, that we have the same way of restoring our health, whether, this in the same way we can degrade our health, right? So you can turn on good genes, but in the same way, you can, turn off those good genes, right? If you're not living and not, not being aware what's coming up around you. So I think the first thing is really, like it's a belief, right? So just really to shift this belief to showing that transformation is possible. I mean, this is very powerful. And another thing is that, and I see that I just recently, because that's a conversation that we caught up with you, Alanna, just recently about the DNA. I've started looking into all this DNA research, right? And I mean, I've looked into that, very deeply, and actually, I've partnered, with, one company now. So basically, it getting down to your DNA. So the good thing is that, yes, we can actually change the expression of our genes, but we need to know your genetic footprint, because there is so much information out there, and all those doctors and all those biohackers, they all talk about like proper things, right, that help them. It doesn't not necessarily will help every single individual because our biology is different. And like getting down to your DNA, understanding your genetic mutation, maybe you don't even have certain genes that can, impact that you are, like your metabolism is going to, be working, that your methylation process is going to be, working. This is why there is no one solution fits all when it comes to food, to nutrition, to supplements, even to modalities, like when people do cold plunges, because for
Mm.
some people, and it can create stress. It can create cellular, like a cellular inflammation more, or the way that you exercise. For some people, heat, it's the way to go. For some people, not. I was, Alanna, on my journey, I was 4 years vegan and raw vegan. And in my coaching business, I never teach clients any specific diet. We're actually teaching client cellular, healing diet, but we actually getting down to your by individuality. So what are specifics, what are going to work for you? Because when I looked at my, profile, I've learned that I actually don't have, genes that I cannot use eat red meat. And I actually, I started to eat red meat in the, last couple of years, and I'm feeling that I'm not feeling my best as I, felt before. And again, with all this new research coming in, I figured it out. That's okay. That was the reason that I felt so thrived on the, like a raw vegan diet. But again, it doesn't work for everyone. We're all different. So again, I mean, like, uh, again, coming back to your questions, I think there are two things. It's a belief, right? So like not getting, like kind of, so expand your belief system, right? So get out of the box and understand that we have the power to heal ourselves. I mean, we were giving this body, by God, and we have all this power, like basically to heal ourselves. And the second thing is your bio individuality. So don't get caught up on every single advice that you see online. Should I get the, like a vitamin D, or maybe, how is it processed in my, in my system? We're all different. We're all different. So there is no one size fits all solution.
Yeah. No, I'm hearing that more and more. I mean, I myself am a pescatarian,
Mm-hmm.
and I was getting blood tests to make sure that I had enough iron in my
Mm-hmm.
blood. And I was. And I've learned that a gluten-free pescatarian diet is what's best for me. I
Yes.
judge, and then I know people from every realm, right?
Yeah.
And I know people that are super strict vegans, some
Mm-hmm.
of whom that's the diet that everybody should be eating. And I don't agree with that, because I think some people need animal protein. And I
Yes.
know people who have been vegans like you, who their health was not good. And then now I know people that are on a carnivore diet and it's working really well for them.
Yes.
So you're right. It's not a one size fits all. And talk about belief system. So years ago, I broke my middle finger on my left hand. And a quick story about that. So I went to, obviously, the hospital because it was a bit crooked,
Mm-hmm.
and they put it in a cast, and it, and then I had to go through hand therapy, and it was so painful and was not getting better. Well, the first doctor was like, yeah, your joint is destroyed
Mm-hmm.
and it will never bend. And
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't going to work for me. Imagine your middle finger
Yeah.
not bending, not good, right? Plus, you don't realize how much you really use your hands and how important your fingers are. And I cook, I do all kinds of things. I was rock climbing at the time. Like, I was like, no. I went to another hand specialist, and that doctor said same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't take a new X-ray. Third, same thing. And my instinct was like, mm-mm. I ended up going to 5 different hand specialists, because the fourth one finally said to me, he finally took a new X-ray, and
Mm-hmm.
he said, your joint's not destroyed. This is scar tissue.
Yeah.
He said, I can inject your hand, bend your finger to break it. It's going to be very painful. Your hand's going to swell up. And then I'll send you to a different therapist, hand therapist, physical therapist, to really work your hand.
Yeah.
And then even though he told me what I wanted to hear, I was like, okay, wait a second. I feel like I want to go to one more. And he actually recommended one at a different location. I
Yeah.
went to that fifth person. He validated what the fourth one said. And then he said, you can come to me. You can go back to him. Doesn't matter to me. I went back to the fourth one and he did exactly what he said he would do. He injected my hand. It was very painful, broke the cartilage. And then I saw a hand therapist that worked really, really hard with me. And now, right, my hand is almost completely normal. But had I not listened to my own instinct, if I didn't believe that I could get here and that what the initial doctors in the white coat was telling me, probably wouldn't have use of my hand, and that's just an example. There's probably, I hear this about cancer all the time, like the fact that, some doctors will say, you've got, this is it. You've got just a few weeks left. You might as well make your phone calls, say your goodbyes. I know people that have done other things alternatively, holistically, and have turned their health around and are still with us. So, I'm so with you. So is there anything else that holds people back besides the internal belief systems and things like that?
Yeah, I think, one of the biggest one is, like a time, right? So like kind of, I don't have time for that, right? So, and this is why, like in my way of, coaching people, I always talk about we don't need to have, a lot of time, in a day. And this is all about actually building those small habits, building those, small habits that become your lifestyle. So, I mean, you really don't need to, like as soon as you have the system in place. So, basically you trust the system, that the system is gonna, take you, like to the goal that, you're searching for, right? So you're working on. And then, just actually build up on the, small incremental, ways and, things that you can build into your life, your habits. Maybe spending, 10 minutes in a day and then building it up, up to whatever time, I mean, you can spend in a day. And not necessarily that, the whole, because I mean, we like through my program, I mean, we're kind of, building that over, X period of time, and not necessarily that in the end you will, be following everything. There are some days where you'll be just, doing some of the things that are important for you today. But again, I mean, building this, because this is the power of your brain. I mean, this is how we with the power of neuroplasticity, right? So we can totally turn it into your lifestyle. So again, I mean, the basically the obstacle that I don't have time for that, I think, is just, again, I mean, it's your belief system, whether what's possible versus what you kind of because it's not about your willpower. It's really about how you take every like every day and building those everyday steps to build up your lifestyle with everything that you're going to be building.
In the work I do, I hear this all the time about time and money, but I hear it all the time about time. And really, it's about our relationship with time,
Yeah.
which boils down to prioritization.
Yes.
What are you going to prioritize? And if you don't prioritize yourself, if you don't have your health,
Yeah.
you don't have anything else. And speaking of time, if you don't make the time and create the time somewhere in your schedule to make it important to you, you're not going to have any time later on. So,
Yeah.
right. I mean, look at what you've been through and what you made the time for to really turn your life around. And you're still here and you're healthy and thriving. And I do believe it can become possible for people. And again, it's all of our bodies are different. There's no guarantees. I should probably say, I am not a doctor. I'm not giving advice and telling anybody what to do. I'm just speaking from just my own personal experience of what I've done for myself. So it's a very personal journey for all of us. But for the people that are watching this or listening to this, what should they do next?
Yeah, and before I get into that, I just want to comment on what you just said, because
Yeah.
I truly appreciate when someone who've gone through their own journey is actually sharing the journey. When you go to the doctor, even if it's like a wellness or like a holistic doctor that has not been through the journey, right? So I mean, they're just speaking from what they learned. And it's different when you talk to someone. And this is why, I mean, when I was diagnosed, when I was sick, when I was looking for solutions, I actually looked for people who transformed their stories. It's so
Yes.
powerful to get a perspective of those people and actually to learn from them what they learned. I mean, like in the first night when I was diagnosed, I actually looked up, literally, I still have those profiles in my computer of people who are diagnosed with cancers, autoimmune diseases. What did they do? Because I mean, there is a general approach. I mean, there is a fundamentals, right? That people talk about. Because again, and just like you, I mean, I never knew about an inflammation. I never knew about, I mean, like how the foods it exists, everything. So again, this is so powerful to actually learn from people who've got, through earner journey. So I just wanted to appreciate your comment about that.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
yes, and to answer your question, I am hosting this brand new event this on Saturday. It's called Vital Sexy You, and basically, and I love calling it Vital Sexy You because this is what we what I believe that we can transform ourselves into, and working with a lot of women like in 50s and like in 40s and 50s, we all still want to feel sexy. And it's basically our feminine side, right? And feel like confident and strong and vital. So this is what's sexy. It's not about wearing a sexy clothes, right? It's about how we feel inside. So this is why I call it Vital Sexy You. But it's a scientific event. So basically, we're going to uncover a lot of strategies, anti-aging strategies. I mean, those things that we talked today about, and we're going to show you how to unlock the power to understand your body's unique biology as well. So we're not just looking for any solutions, but we're actually can tailor ourselves to a specific solution that works for your biology. So it's a lot of exciting things that's going to come up in this event. So we're gonna talk about one size does not fit all. When it comes to to health, we're going to talk about how to optimize your cellular health. So how actually you can create the foundation for your energy, for your metabolism, for anti-aging, for longevity. How we can look 10 years younger. Seriously, I mean, I actually show my picture from my 30s. I look like a way more older than I was in my 30s than am
Yeah.
I now. So there is so just amazing thing that we can do to our health. And also I'm having someone who is teaching this class with me, hosting this class, Dr. Amber Joy, and I love her. She is a special friend, and she's going to be sharing a lot of tools for inner healing, because our transformation is about aligning your mind and body for lasting change. So it's not just physical, it's also like a mental, and so we're going to share a lot of this. So if you love this conversation, so come to my masterclass. It's absolutely free, but you have a chance to upgrade to VIP and get 1 hour personalized support, from me and from Dr. Amber, for only $47, which is, like a, 6 cups of coffee,
Wow.
for
Yeah.
the week. And we're just going to be with you in a room for an additional hour where you can ask us questions, and it's going to be a lot of personalization, and plus you're going to get all the gifts, anti-aging gifts. We've put together a toolkit for anti-aging tools for you, including stress and glycation and glucose regulation, and all those exciting things, so you can check it out. But Alanna is going to post a link with this interview. So just
Yes.
click the link and come join us, hang out with us on Saturday morning, have your, coffee, your lunch. And it's a fun event. It's not like me sitting in a room and just, preaching. It's a conversation. So we're going to, have interactions during this event.
Beautiful. And one last question. Is it going to be recorded for those that aren't able to make it on? It's on Saturday. Yeah.
It's on Saturday. Yeah, we usually record those events. We love, actually, for the transformation, we love having people in the room. Because again, I
Correct.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, so you get so much transformation if you're in a room, if you're asking questions, and I mean, if you're just, experience was what other can experience. So yes.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to sign up for it regardless. So yeah, I hope those of you that have listened to this conversation, got some good nuggets out of it, definitely sign up for Angelina's event on Saturday, and I'll include some other information about how to get in touch with her if you're curious and you want to know more. So thanks for listening.
Thanks for, inviting me here. It was a great conversation, Alanna. And again, I was so glad to connect with you again. And thanks, everyone.
Yes, thanks for being here. It was so wonderful to connect. So I'm glad we had this chance, and I'm looking forward to further conversations. Yeah. All right.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.